doing? This might look menacing. Don't be scared. We will go on talking English for the next 40 minutes. Don't be scared. Catalina is using ZHdK to memorize you. We have come a long, long way to get here. We have used this technique many times before. We have found out that it can be used for many different things. Ordinary things, precious things. Precious, like you. How does it feel to be memorized? Maybe it feels good. Catalina feels good. Most of us feel better when we face memory in an active way. Because if we want, we can have control over memory. Hello everybody. We are very happy that there are so many people of you coming to see our public demonstration of ZHdK. Thank you to Johanna for doing this technique stuff, which is a bit complicated. We have not so much time, but thank you so much. We are Mouchacha, and this is Catalina, and I am Miriam. And we are here to talk and to exercise ZHdK. ZHdK is short for the French hacker non technologique, so non-technological hackers. It comes from France. And it has a very simple idea. We want to save, it wants to save information in the body by using movements. And we will try out several things tonight to understand this technique a little bit better. But before we go through various exercises, Catalina will show you a short documentary from last year.
Yeah, so hi. It is a documentary that was shot in Paris in the Cultural Center 104. You can access the documentary whenever you want in YouTube. And it was a ZHdK meeting in 2014. We participated in it, and so we are also part of the documentary. You will see us. And it is in French, so I will translate live for you. And what else should I say? Yeah, that's it. That's yeah. So this is me. And this is, do you see what? This is Shuntaro. Says, here I am in the Cultural Center 104 in Paris. It has been a long time that I wanted to come. Yes. Yes, I'm very happy to be here because the man is built on remembering and the machine is built on forgetting. This is me again. And I am here to practice remembering and at the same time is social and sporty. This is Lea. She says, movement helps me retain things that only with words I cannot retain. Of course, I always try to repeat text and things like this, but it never worked. So I did a little research on other techniques that exist. And I came to this movement that memorizes through gestures and movement. This is Pauline. She says that she dropped Facebook because she was depending too much on the notifications for birthdays, and she wanted to be more spontaneous and autonomous. So she memorizes the birthdays of her friends and also the star signs of them. So you can see that this is lion. And this is Joachim. He says that at the beginning it's a bit difficult because he's not a dancer, and a lot of the people that do HypnoTech are actually dancers. But now he feels more and more comfortable because he's been practicing for a couple of months, and he memorizes book titles that he never remembers. Yes. Johanna, please.
Exercise number 1. Recording the audience. Exercise number 2. The collective journal.
Case, thou, airplanes, nightingales, into, snap, grey, I like Roman, when, nails, 7 minutes, again, fun, shoot, zan, and go, mirror ball, twilight, big oak, Uberstadt, tumble, morning, shelter, shadow, melted, meeting.
Exercise number 3. The telephone numbers. There's a magical number, and it is 7 plus or minus 2. Even with hard training, you won't get 7 plus or minus 2. Thanks to Mr. Miller, we know that we cannot retain more than 5 to 9 information units, which he calls chunks. Sometimes you might feel immortal, but numeric limits are the truth. When memory is identity, then you are 7 plus or minus 2. But then comes turn off, and thus there's no evidence for such kind of magic. Just think of autistic people. Short-term memory cannot be easily characterized in quantity. The amount of chance a human being can recall immediately depends on the quality, the category. Short-term memory cannot be easily characterized in quantity. of gems a human being can recall immediately depends on the quality, the category.
So these were some steps of our work that we did until now with HacknoTech, and we would like to use the occasion now to have a short feedback talk with you, because it's still a research process. I know we should be careful with this term now, yeah, no, it would be really interesting for us to have an opinion of you.
Maybe before you ask questions, we can speak a little bit more about the exercises so that you also get more insight. For example, the telephone number exercise is an exercise where we memorize telephone numbers. It can be quite practical when your battery runs down and you're always like, oh, my phone numbers are always there. And no, it has happened to us, so it can be helpful. It has a problem for us in HacknoTech because, as you maybe saw, it becomes systematic because there's only 10 possibilities for different numbers. And then we make one number correspond to one movement, and then very quickly it becomes some sort of like sign language, but a sign language that only you can understand. So when we did this, we didn't know if this was actually the point of HacknoTech, because we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. And in the exercise we call the collective journal, so the green one, it was a bit more complicated, a bit more complex, because in the beginning we were 4 people doing it. We lived in 4 different cities, and we wanted to try out a memory exercise that with the result of a collective memory. This was the idea. Even when we couldn't spend time together, we wanted to have something like a collective memory. And then we shared 5 things every day, 5 words. One of us sent it to the other 3, and each of us made movements to these 5 things. And so in the end, after 2 weeks, we had like each of us 70 movements. So all in all, 280 movements. Not only movements, but choreographies. And so much more than the 10 of the telephone numbers, of course. And I think the problem there was that it was not a sign language, but it was not a personal language. It was a mix of everything. So we had like personal associations, cultural associations. So something could be codified, decodified, something not. It was just very arbitrary.
Yeah. I guess in the numbers it is always arbitrary, but maybe numbers themselves are a little bit arbitrary anyway, so it doesn't create a problem in that sense. But there is one other problem with the telephone numbers, and it is that after a while it becomes also quite boring because of this systematic thing, and it became also, we didn't know how to practice together and come together to practice and make it still kind of fun. So we decided to add the music, but then because memory, a lot of people associate different things with memory, it became a little bit of a fight to choose which music, because some people would be like, no, that is too distracting, no, that doesn't help. So we created a song, a memory song that we all liked and that we all could share. And the problem is that it became almost too much fun, because we started dancing instead of memorizing. And of course, HacknoTech can look like a dance, but it's actually it's an exercise for the mind also. So when you start just having fun and dancing, you probably stop memorizing after a while, and that was not really good.
And in the collective journal, we had another problem with music. because there we tried to put all our different rhythms together to one rhythm. Like, I don't know if you already made a choreography, but I realized that I am really sticking to a rhythm in my mind. It doesn't have to be like a rhythm like this. No, it's a very personal rhythm. And when we met to build this choreography together, we realized that we have to find one common rhythm, and it does not work without. So in the end, we chose something that, I don't know, for me always felt a bit violent, because it meant that I had to abandon my own personal rhythm, so that I felt it was, yes, frustrating.
Yeah, so in ZHdK we keep on trying many different tools. Maybe you can tell us which ones you think might work. But we keep on trying things. People tell us that things can help memory, like color signs and like memorizing stuff. And somebody also told us that we should use, for these telephone number exercises, these masks that focus our attention. Because sometimes when you're dancing and memorizing and you see another person with your peripheral view moving, it can be quite distracting. So we decided to focus our sight. But it doesn't necessarily work that much. So we just keep on trying different methods and tools. Yeah.
Yes, tools are nice, and it's important, because then you really feel that you make steps, because you abandon one and you meet somebody who gives you a new trick, and we study different techniques. So, but I think, to be honest, for ZHdK, you have to say that there's no tool that can resolve everything. In the end, you just have to practice. If you don't practice, you can leave it, because you saw it in this collective journal exercise, where we started with 70 movements, each of us, and now you saw that there was almost nothing left, so we maybe remember 50 movements, and it is because of the lack of practice. We did it 1.5 years ago, and since then we didn't really refresh it, so there is no tool in the world that can replace practice.
This was exercise number 4. Exercise number 5. Immortal gestures. J.F. Kennedy, 60 minutes before his death. J.F. Kennedy, 40 minutes before his death. J.F. Kennedy, 11 minutes before his death. J.F. Kennedy, 7 minutes before his death. Antonin Artaud, 5 seconds before his death. Antonin Artaud, 4 seconds before his death. Antonin Artaud, 3 seconds before his death. Antonin Artaud, 2 seconds before his death. Janis Joplin, hours before her 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 death. Saddam Hussein, 1 minute 16 before his death. Saddam Hussein, 1 minute 14 before his death. Saddam Hussein, 57 seconds before his death. Saddam Hussein, 42 seconds before his death. Exercise number 6. Speech making.
These gestures are part of our collective memory. But to access them, we actually had to go through the media, because still today, the media own them. For us, HackNoTech's potential is to take these gestures away from the media back to where they belong, the body. Bodies remember. We know this. It's in their nature. Their substance remembers lost knowledge, archaic knowledge, primitive knowledge. But human beings of today have forgotten how to go through the body and into this knowledge. We believe movement can serve as a link between these collective memories and our bodies, and therefore encourage personal empowerment. These gestures are part of our collective memory, but to access them, we actually had to go through the media, because still today, the media own them. For us, HackNoTech's potential is to take these gestures away from the media back to where they belong, the body. Bodies remember. We know this. It's in their nature. Their substance remembers lost knowledge, archaic knowledge, primitive knowledge. But human beings of today have forgotten how to go through the body into this knowledge. We believe movement can serve as a link between these collective memories and our bodies, and therefore encourage personal empowerment.
Exercise number 7. The medal.
There is something we want to know. Does HackNoTech imply a return to nature? Is it, like some suggest, a denial of technology? And can it then be seen as a conservative movement? How close had we come to some mystical, pseudo-scientific, vitalist ideas of the 20th century? How close have we come to Rudolf Steiner? Were we on our way to Monteverito? We tried to understand what happened through a small experiment. With 8 people, we decided to stay on the meadow for 3 days. We want to work on the HackNoTech, but without any technological support. No cell phone, no computer, not even a pencil to write down things. We want to see how a working process changes if we don't have any tool to take notes. There is only one rule: try to take notes with the body. 2 hours of perception exercises, I have the first good idea that I would like to keep. So I start looking for associations to create gestures with it. Je länger man das Wort anschaut, desto fremder schaut es zurück. Je länger man das Wort anschaut, desto fremder schaut es zurück. This is us on the countryside. Each of us has his or her own method. So we slowly start disappearing in our own memory bubbles. We came here as a group, but now we are almost alone. I start missing a connection between us. Is it possible to share memory? How can we make a collective hacknotech? Pine tree. Pine tree. Grass. Grass. Cigarette. Cigarette. Tent. Tent. Magazine. Magazine. Big bear. Big bear. Worms. Worms. Matches. Matches. Mountain. Mountain. Friends. Friends. Cloud. Cloud. Marshmallow. Marshmallow. Blueberry. 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 Pine tree. Grass. Cigarette. Tent. Magazine. Big bear. Worms. Matches. Mountain. Friends. Cloud. Marshmallow. Blueberry. The next day, we start the day with some brain food. Almonds, salmon, spinach. But after breakfast, we have to admit that none of us remembers what we didn't want to forget. It seems as if we have used our memory cells too much. As some of us start panicking, we decide to rehearse 2 hours the things from yesterday to be sure to keep them. Pine tree. Grass. Cigarette. Tent. Magazine. Big bear. Worms. Matches. Mountain. Friends. Cloud. Marshmallow. Blueberry.
will be more. There's more and more things to remember. And there's workshops being organized all over. And there is one being organized here on Thursday at 1. And there's still places, so please, you can sign up before leaving. If you want to learn more about the technique and practice it. And there's also workshops, if you're interested, organized in South America, in Bolivia, in Germany also. So just keep on checking.
Because even if we saw today that memory might fail, and even HypnoTech might fail from time to time, we don't see it as a problem, but more as a strength of fragility, because it is underlining the subjective approach, the humanly approach to memory. And this is why we think, even if HypnoTech might not always be functional, it could be popular.
Thank you.